I'm 81 years old, and there's one regret that wakes me up almost every morning before the sun does. It's not loud. It doesn't announce itself. It's just there, waiting, like it always is. At this age, mornings come early whether you want them or not. My body doesn't sleep the way it used to. I lie there and listen to the house settle, the refrigerator hum, the clock clicking its little heartbeat. That's when it comes, not a memory exactly. More like a weight. I'm not telling this because I need forgiveness. Most of the people I'd want it from are already gone. I'm telling it because time has narrowed my world, and the only thing that still feels useful is honesty. When you're this old, you become very aware of how final things are. There's no sense anymore that life is still opening up. It's closing slowly and politely, like a store at the end of the day. You take stock of what's left on the shelves. I used to think regret would come from the big mistakes, the obvious ones, the things people warn you about. But that's not how it happened for me. It came from waiting. In my 20s, I was busy in the most ordinary way. I had a decent job, not glamorous but steady. I wore the same kind of shirts every day and ate the same lunches. I was proud of being reliable. People depended on me, and I liked that. I married young. We weren't wildly in love, but we cared for each other. It felt sensible. We talked about the future the way people did then. House, kids, security, nothing extravagant, just solid ground. I told myself there would be time for everything else later. Later to travel. Later to sit and talk longer. Later to call my parents just to hear their voices. Later to say the things that felt awkward to say out loud. Later became a habit. In my 30s and 40s, life filled up. Work expanded to fit every empty space I allowed it. I stayed late because it seemed responsible. I missed dinners because there was always something unfinished. I told myself I was doing it for my family. There were moments I could have chosen differently. Small ones. Leaving the office a little earlier. Saying no without an excuse. Sitting on the edge of the bed and asking my wife how she really was, instead of assuming. None of those moments felt important at the time. My children grew the way children do, quietly and all at once. One day they needed help tying their shoes. The next they were closing their bedroom doors. I was there, but not fully. I was tired. I was distracted. I thought being present meant being in the same room. I remember my daughter once asking me to come outside and watch the sky change colors. I told her I would in a minute. I never went. I don't remember what I was doing instead. That's the part that hurts. The cost didn't arrive as a single blow. It came in small withdrawals. A missed recital here. A shortened conversation there. Phone calls postponed because it was late or I was busy or I'd do it tomorrow. Tomorrow always felt available. My parents aged faster than I noticed. They never complained. They didn't want to be a burden. My mother would say, "We're fine," even when her voice sounded thin. I visited when I could. I meant to visit more. I thought there would be time. Then there wasn't. The turning point wasn't dramatic. No final speech. No sudden clarity. My father had a stroke. He didn't die right away. He lingered, half present, confused. The man who taught me how to drive and how to shave couldn't remember my name. I sat by his bed and tried to talk to him. All the things I'd never said lined up in my throat, waiting their turn. Most of them never made it out. When he died, I felt sad. But what surprised me was something else. A kind of panic. Not loud, just steady. The realization that the ledger was closed. You don't get to add anything once it's closed. After that, the years sped up. My marriage thinned. Not from anger, from neglect. We were polite roommates by the end. When she got sick, I took care of her. I did everything I was supposed to do. Love expressed as duty is still love, I think. But it's not the same as presence. When she died, the house became very quiet. Not immediately. Quiet settles in layers. First the obvious sounds disappear. Then the smaller ones. Eventually, even your own footsteps sound unfamiliar. Now it's just me. Old photos, furniture that remembers more than I do. The regret that wakes me up isn't about money or career or success. I did fine by those measures. It's the knowledge that I treated time like it was renewable. I assumed relationships would wait. That people would always be there when I was ready to slow down. That love was patient enough to survive neglect without changing shape. It isn't. What can't be fixed is simple and absolute. I can't go back and sit on the porch with my parents. I can't re-enter my children's childhoods with open hands instead of a watch on my wrist. I can't undo the silences that grew where conversations should have been. Some doors only close once. If you're listening to this and you're younger than I am, I won't tell you what to do. I don't believe in that. Everyone thinks their reasons are good ones. Mine were. I'll just tell you what I didn't understand. Later is not a place you eventually arrive. It's a story you tell yourself so you can get through today without discomfort. Presence feels inefficient. It doesn't produce anything you can point to. That's why it's easy to postpone. But it's the only thing that doesn't expire. People don't remember how hard you worked. They remember whether you were there. I'm not bitter. Not exactly. There's gratitude mixed in with the sorrow. I had a life, I loved and was loved, even if imperfectly. But I would trade every extra hour I worked for one ordinary afternoon I never showed up for. My time now is short. I know that without fear. Just clarity. I take my mornings slowly. I drink my coffee and watch the light move across the wall. Sometimes the regret still comes. Sometimes it doesn't. When it does, I let it sit with me. It's earned that right. If this meant something to you, you don't need to respond or agree or do anything at all. Just remember that the smallest moments are the ones you don't get back. I'm 81 years old. I don't wake up wishing I'd done more. I wake up wishing I'd stayed longer.